You're about to make a trade. Which you do you listen to? Is it get optioning those options? Or let's do a little research. Learn more at finra.org/trade-smart.
What do you like most about working with White Sands, man?
I think the company culture, empower their employees.
Okay.
It's a well-oiled machine. You know, they have systems in place for certain things that other places don't have, and it's just a great setup, and there's great structure. And most of the therapists here have been here for an extended tenure, which says a lot. Lindsay Henry's the VP of Clinical Services at White Sands, and she's phenomenal at what she does, has a grasp on everything that happens here. And all of her therapists are tenured by at least 5, 6, 7, some are here 11 years. Once you have someone here that knows the program, knows how things work, clients get better experiences at that point.
I think that's your guys' secret sauce.
Yeah.
Everybody's been amazing. Everybody's welcoming. And, I wasn't expecting it.
That's pretty much how it's like for the patients to come in, right? They're met with love, letting them know, hey, listen, you're not alone. There is help. And, just kind of grab our hand in a sense. Let us take you through this journey.
What's up, everybody? Got a special one for you today. I'm here on site at White Sands Treatment Center in Fort Myers, Florida. They are our Powered by sponsor. So I just want to say thank you again, White Sands, for one heck of a partnership and collaboration. We're out there helping people get better, helping people get healthy, and living better lives. So today, I have with me someone that I go way back with, Steven Sundquist. Man, it's so good to see you. Welcome to the show.
Appreciate you having me on, man. We finally did it.
Dude, we've talked about it, man. Yeah. We've talked about it ad nauseum, and finally we found a way. Mm-hmm. And so for the viewers, man, you want to work with someone, you want to do some cool stuff, wait for the right moment, because if you're paying attention, it'll sneak up and bite you right in the ass. And here we are, man. This is cool, dude.
I love it, man.
So it's, every now and again, I get to, have conversations, with people that I go way back with. And it's always fun, man, because the energy is different, right? Yep. So where I was in 2008 or 9, right? I mean, shit, dude, I was living with my mom there. I lost everything prior to the mortgage meltdown. You were dating my sister and that's how we met. And here we are. So, dude, we had an amazing tour of the facility, prior to us sitting down here today and shooting this episode. What I found most amazing, right? You're driving by on Colonial Road, you see this big building, White Sands Treatment Center. And it's like, you see, this building that we're in. I'm like, oh, okay. Like that's all it is, huh? But what this place actually is, there's 9 model homes back there that you can't even see from the street. It's like these individuals that get to come to this treatment center, and recover and heal and get healthy. They're living an actual life where they can make coffee in their house. They have a bedroom. They can do their laundry in there. There's a full scale cafeteria right over here to my right. You walk through those doors, there's a badass gym that they can go move their body. So they're working on their mental, spiritual, right? And physical health. I mean, this place is amazing, man.
Yeah. It's, it's definitely a top option, I'd say, based on my experience of what I've seen, working in this space after finding myself through recovery, and it's a safe place. Everybody really cares here and they go the extra mile. The clinical is above average. I'll tell you that, man. There's a lot of great things White Sands has to offer the community for sure.
I walked in here, man, and, a lot of times when you walk in a place and you got cameras showing up, people kind of look at you sideways like, who the hell is this guy? And what are we doing here? Everybody here, I got to tell you, man, from everybody here on site with Mark, you, Mike, and then even, Casey over there on the other coast, man. I wish she was able to be here today. I was really looking forward to meeting her soon, girl. You better get your butt over here. But everybody's been amazing. Everybody's welcoming, and I wasn't expecting it.
Yeah, and that's pretty much how it's like for the patients to come in, right? They're met with love from the embrace at the doors, letting them know, hey, listen, you're not alone. There is help, and just kind of grab our hand in a sense. Let us take you through this journey, and just trust one person if it's one person.
What do you like most about working with White Sands, man?
I think the company culture, I think they empower their employees.
Okay.
And that's really important to someone like me. But I just think it's a well-oiled machine. They have systems in place for, certain things that other places don't have. And it's just a great setup, and there's great structure, and, there's activities for people to do. They have choices, right? It's not like you have to go here. There's certain groups where they have the ability to pick which ones they want to do based on what they're going through.
I think it's really cool. And I'm going to come back to another point in that I want to make. But what I'm digging about this place is that, you talk about structure, but we're also talking about an actual lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've never been in recovery, and I'm grateful for that. Right. I've done some messing up in my life, right? But it never turned into, an addiction or, a long extended lifestyle type situation. But when people think of in-treatment centers, they think of hospital-y environments, sterile environment, someone shoving pills down your throat, being mean to you. But what I've seen here is, and I alluded to it at the beginning of the episode, man, they have community time where they can get out there in like a gazebo and sit around in a circle and have some conversation. Mm-hmm. They all eat in the cafeteria at the same time. Then they can go out and play cornhole and some Connect Four, get a lift in, but also not disconnect from their families and have their device time when it's approved to FaceTime their family and stay connected with the outside as much as possible. I think it's important for people to know
100%.
that about this place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like a thing, right? We don't want to completely disconnect you from your lifestyle and your family and friends, but, also having just that fine line with a boundary of, are you applying yourself here for the day? If you did, great. Here's your reward in a sense. I think it's great. I didn't have that when I was in treatment, and I definitely could have benefited from it, I think.
Yeah. So let's talk about that if you don't mind. Like, okay, so I don't remember what year it was. I remember you opening up to me about it. I mean, I think it was several years ago. Years run together for me now, dude. Sometimes I don't even know what freaking month it is.
2017.
2017. Okay. So not too long ago, right? What was the deal, man?
Oh, man. It stems back to high school for me. I was a great baseball player like yourself and had a lot of potential to play at the next level, and had a freak accident happen on the mound. And that was my introduction to pain pills. Took them as prescribed. And essentially, when I healed from my surgery, my arm wasn't nearly as strong. So I only knew myself as Steven, the baseball player. I didn't know who I was without sports, so it was kind of like an identity crisis thing. And I spent the next 7-8 years, searching for that high that I never found, and obviously a lot of hurt, a lot of consequences along the way. And it's just, a lot of athletes go through a similar process I've experienced, with working with others today. It's just, some people, find their calling in a sense in life. And, I feel like, anybody that goes through this process will have the same calling in a sense. And that's just to, pay it forward, help the next person in line. That's just what I've done. I've found a great career in, helping people now. And it's just, it's something that found me, based on my experience. You don't find that often.
Hey, we're going to take a quick break to hear from our Powered By sponsor. We're proud to announce a partnership between White Sands Treatment Centers and the Determined Society. With multiple locations across Florida, White Sands provides luxury, top-rated addiction treatment, from medical detox and inpatient care to outpatient support and long-term aftercare. Their resort-style campuses, expert clinicians, and holistic programs create real, lasting recovery. Together, we're committed to bringing hope, resources, and healing to those who need it most. White Sands Treatment Centers. I think that when you are put in the path where you finally listen to the higher power of going in your path of where you're supposed to be, you fall into it, right? Like I fell into this. It was an accident. Now it's on purpose, right? But, I was really bad at it for a very long time. And, with you, getting the healing and the treatment that you needed put you on this path to be involved in this amazing treatment center here at White Sands. I want to go back to your experience in treatment. And here's why. Because I want the listeners and the viewers to understand the difference, because you alluded to it, right? I wish I would have had something like this in my recovery. So what does that look like on the other side of it?
Yeah, sure. So, for me, Baton Rouge, Louisiana is where I got sober. Do you know that?
I didn't know that.
St. Christopher's Addiction Wellness.
How do you get sober in Baton Rouge, bro?
It's our connection now, man.
Come on, man.
But yeah, I just feel like, obviously over a period of time, like things can become mundane. I just looked at it for what it was, right? I was like, because I had been in treatment a couple of times. I'm not like a one time wonder. I had to fall on my face a couple of times to really feel it. But I feel like, it gets mundane and repetitive, and, you miss your family and friends. And I feel like, yeah, I was able to make calls through the therapist's office, like once a week. But, sometimes it's just nice to check in, just let someone know where you're at, someone that knows you for where you've been, so I love the concept here of, how things are done. And obviously, after a certain period of time, the clients are viewed here as guests, because their day's done. Is kind of what Mike was talking about. And I just think that's important for them to feel that, because they feel that sense of responsibility to do the right thing, and you're given a leash in a sense. It's like, show us that you want this, and those are the people that typically get it, and I just, for me, right, it was just, I came down to a point where it was just like, all right, am I going to allow this stuff to consume me, or am I going to put in effort to, put the action forth of just getting better and not ever having to go back into one of these places again? That's just really what it got to for me. Just being sick and tired of being sick and tired, getting the same result every time, wondering why, in a sense. But I realized I never really put forth the effort to be disciplined with my recovery, to be disciplined with other things in life, so that's really where it is for me today.
It's pretty awesome, because I can look back, and I remember seeing on Facebook and LinkedIn, all of a sudden, you're having news spots, you're doing amazing things, talking about your recovery. I'm like, damn, man, this is brave. In your healing and in your treatment, was there any training on kind of how to reintroduce yourself to society and be open and vulnerable about your experience?
Yeah, I think it just came down to just walking through that fear and just freeing myself from whatever I thought I was holding back, and that was kind of like the aha moment for me when I shared about some stuff that had been like kind of swept under the rug over the years, and just voicing that and seeing the feedback from other people that were in the group at the time. Like, damn, like, thanks for sharing that, man. You helped me so much. It's just like, something clicked for me in that moment, and I was like, wow, okay, I see the importance of the power of my voice and me sharing my truth. It's just touching so many lives. So that's been a constant theme for, most of my sobriety.
That's good, man. I'd imagine, White Sands is the same thing, right? They really prepare people to go out there and feel comfortable and not pay for the past. Because look, man, let's be honest. Like, we had an off-camera conversation just about life situations and how a lot of times people hold you hostage to who you were at that time. How is it for people, coming out of White Sands, and even for yourself, reintroducing yourself back into society, and people have that label on you, right? Or might, because for me, dude, I didn't know that about you. Yeah. Like, it wasn't like an overall, like, arguing, like, this dude is, addicted to, medication, right? It wasn't in my circle. Like, I had no idea, but my long-winded question is actually pretty simple. I'm just having a hard time getting to the point, which a lot of times I do, right? I ramble, but it's like the people that come out, right? And they feel like this new lease on life, and they get back into the same circle potentially, and the people on the outside hold their past against them. That can't be good for them.
No, I think it just comes down to, right, you reevaluating, what's important in your life, like I had to do. And I still do it like every year, right? It's like a thing that's just become naturally. It's like, if it's not serving you, unfortunately, it's not really as important in your life as it once was. And that goes for friend groups and places to hang out, and just things change, and it just comes down to what is adding to your recovery. If someone's, talking negatively about you all the time, and they're probably not the best for you to have in your life, so my friends groups changed over the years. Obviously, I'm not finding myself hanging out in bars anymore and things like that, but it's just, things change.
So, here, is there with some of the treatments here, and then even, there's outpatient therapy. Just want to be clear.
Yeah.
This is just not an inpatient facility where you come to detox for 10 days. You can become a guest here for 30 days, and there's outpatient stuff. There's family counseling, right? There's a bunch of different things.
Yep.
Do you guys prepare them for the potential, like, hey, this could be imminent, that you're changing friend groups and you're going to have to leave people behind?
Yeah, there's constant redirection with that, preparing for discharge. Obviously, there's a whole process that we do before someone is ready to discharge. We're going to make sure that they have resources lined up for them to have that support and accountability. But yeah, man, it's something that's always being addressed, and it gets brought up in groups too. They'll have process groups where everyone will give feedback around, the things that, they're talking about like that.
I think it's important, right? Because when you're in treatment and you're healing, to have that open conversation about going back out there and the adjustments that you may have to make in your life, I think it's really cool for people, especially here. I mean, and again, we got a lot of video of this place, man. I can see this place as people hanging out, when it's rec time and being like, you know what? I'm really scared about this when I leave here. And it could be this conversation that one person's vulnerability, about their fears opens up everybody else to talk about it. And then all of a sudden become like a community and support group that when they do get reintroduced back into their normal lives, they're able to call on each other, man, and go over these things.
Yeah, that was probably one of the most, beneficial times, right? Just, conversing with the community and conversing with like the support staff, like we were talking about out there, those were some of the best conversations I had in treatment, and eventually it's cool to see where, the other clients or guests, they're able to hold another client accountable, for where they're at. And that's the coolest part about this whole thing.
Well, the thing that I really love too about this place is not just the bells and whistles, man. It's the people that work here. I alluded to it earlier, but most people in here that work here have gone through it.
Yep.
Now, everybody always says, what do I do in this world? Like, who am I most equipped to help? And the answer always is, you're equipped to help and support the person you once were.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I mean, that's a mission here. Like you can't lead people from their hell, out of their personal hell or their personal jail, unless you've been through it, because you don't have any sympathy. Like I couldn't do it, not because I wouldn't want to, but like, I don't have the reference. I don't have the experience in this.
Yeah, those are the things that I love to touch on, man, and talk about on, platforms and stages, like that vulnerability piece, man. Like if I didn't tell somebody, they probably wouldn't know I had been through that today, whereas, I can literally bring up the exact emotions, the exact feelings of how it feels to be stuck in that place and a slave to a substance, and it's just, that's the relatability factor that sometimes can help people get through those early phases, because I know that I couldn't have done it if someone else hadn't came to me and said, hey, listen, I've been through this, I'm going to take you through this, just trust me,
Well, I'm interested because I said before, I've never been, addicted to a substance to where it has a stranglehold on me. What goes on psychologically when you're in the middle of it, you need to stop because it's potentially going to ruin your life or lose your life. And then, still go and like, okay, well, last one, right? This is my last one. I would imagine there's a lot of that, but psychologically, what do you go through during that?
Just, it's like a never ending rat race, man. You can have the best intentions one day and wake up, say, you know what, I'm not going to do it today. And then, an hour or two later goes by and something happens, right? Out of our control, like most things are in life. And, that's, then it restarts the insanity in your head where you can't get that obsession out of your head until you put one in your body. And that is the stuff that people want to hear, right? Of just like how to break through that, and typically, there's never a good time that's, going to align that says, today's the day I'm going to go get help. It never happened like that for me. But, I can tell you if you're in that place, you're feeling stuck, there is a better way out. And there are people like us that are willing to help at any given moment. But it's just it's an insane cycle, man. It's just, you can try to trick yourself any which way on, okay, I'm going to use just on the weekends, or I'm going to use only on Friday, or, and you'll never get out of it like that.
It's crazy to me because, now it's different.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by that is I want everybody to hang on here. One pill can literally kill you now.
100%.
Yeah. So, back in 17, granted, you're probably getting it prescribed or whatever, but, people getting, these pills on the streets, it can literally kill them. Story for you. 2 years ago in July, it was 2 years in July, my former first baseman at Canterbury, Evan Ames, had an injury at Chipola Junior College where he dislocated his elbow and he was in a lot of pain. And in my humble opinion, he rushed back. He should not have played that same year. And he did okay. But he came home for the summer, right? Had his 20th birthday or something like that in June. And, he was going through a lot of, and his prescription ran out and he went down to San Carlos, Fort Myers, got one. And, there was 6 pills in there and he took a quarter of one. He died. And I just,
fentanyl.
Oh, it was definitely fentanyl. Oh, 1 billion % was fentanyl. So, all to say, and again, they found what was in there, and there was only a quarter of a pill missing. He wasn't abusing it. An addict would have taken 1 or 2. He took a quarter of it and he had a dirty pill. And it's something that I feel like it needs some major awareness because it could be one time. There's kids that are in college that are under so much stress. Like, I just need some Adderall. So they go buy Adderall and it kills them because it's laced with a deadly dose of fentanyl. So this is a big problem in our country. How do you think that, I mean, I don't want to get political, but I know there's, different things going on in Texas. We're trying to keep fentanyl out of the country and everything like that. But man, like in my day, or your day, if we were doing something like that, there was no such thing.
Yeah, it's they're counterfeiting, Xanax pills. I've even heard of it being laced in some marijuana for, some of the, adolescents to, get a hold of, man. It's terrible. But yeah, there's so many counterfeit pills all over the place. I've lost so many people to, that stuff too, man. It's insane. But yeah, there's got to be something that can be done to prevent that. And it is political.
Yeah, I mean, it is political, right? But I mean, fuck it, let's go there. It's like, why are we not? It's just like school shootings, right? Not just like it, but it's like we're talking about two things that are very deadly, right? I want Navy SEALs or retired veterans at every entrance of every school on the roofs. Like, you see someone coming on, it's like, boom, you're done. Like, why risk the life, right? Same thing with fentanyl. We know it's killing people, but we're not doing anything about it. Or we may be. I mean, but it takes a while to get it out, right? I think now current administration is doing very focused on it. Much more, yeah. Very focused on it, right? But dude, it is a scary thing, man. And to your point about marijuana, I was having this conversation with my wife one day. I'm like, when we were kids, if we decided to do something stupid, out behind the portables or whatever, or, with your buddies at a party, which was never what I did, right? I was always hitting in the garage until my hands bled. So that was my excuse not to go out and do stupid shit. It's like, no, I just got to get better. So I'm not doing that. But, now you do something stupid like that, you could die. And so it begs the question, right? Like, that substance is readily available out on the street, but also in dispensaries. It's almost like I would rather it, like a 21-year-old kid when he's 21 to walk into a dispensary and get it and then not die. But I know we're not here promoting the legalization of marijuana, but my point is it could save them from getting a dirty dose or a dirty dime sack. Is that what they call it nowadays?
It's like playing Russian roulette in a sense out there with the drug dealers on the street, man. You don't know what you're going to get. I mean, I know they got like these fentanyl testing kits, but how many?
Are they accurate?
I don't know. I mean, who knows? I never used one, so I don't know.
Yeah. Wow, man. I don't think it was even a thing back then, was it?
Fentanyl was slowly making its way towards the end of 2017 for me. There was a couple of times where I feel like there was some stuff that I had that was pressed for sure.
Wow, man. Wow. It's scary.
Yeah, it is.
It's scary.
Yeah. Well, to be honest with you, I mean, I'll be real. When I'm in that place, like, I didn't care about living or dying. It was just about getting the next one. And that's how crazy this is.
Yeah, go on that because...
Yeah, you just get to this place where you lose all control and you need that fix to feel like you can survive, and it's just... You just don't care, and like, obviously, like, if I would have been real, I really didn't want to die at the time, but it's just like the emotions and just how dead you feel inside, just, I didn't care at the time. Like,
it's kind of like, if I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
And if that's my fate, that's my fate.
Yeah.
And then I'm out of pain. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did that ever cross your mind?
Yeah, it did. But I always played it forward. Right. And thought of like my family or, my daughter now, like that's a whole nother ball game, but that would be tragic, and I never wanted to leave my family with that. Thank God it never happened, but yeah.
It's heavy, man. You know what I mean? Because I don't know what it's like, like I know at a very small scale, like I think truly there was a food addiction, but not the same.
Yeah.
Not the same.
Yeah.
But I can also relate to, I just need that cookie. And then I'd eat that cookie and then I would have more and more and more. And I would binge on it. Right. And so I would imagine something like that is infinitely less serious than having to depend on, a drug, like a real drug that can literally take a hold of you and control your whole life. I can't even imagine, because at times I felt like I couldn't control it. Again, it was painful. And it's like, you get dressed in the morning, you don't feel right in anything. You feel horrible. I can't even imagine what it's like overcoming what you and so many people in the center are working to overcome.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes along with it. Obviously, like the emotional and mental side, but the physical, like your body just deteriorates. Like whenever I was like strung out on opiates or pain pills, man, like I have lost so much weight drastically. Like, it's just very unhealthy, very, very unhealthy. You could see it, and everything within that person most of the time wants to deny that there's a problem, and it's tough for a lot of men to ask, for help, first of all. So I feel like that's kind of what prevented me from asking for help for so many years. Although I knew I needed help, I just couldn't, get the courage enough to ask for it, and it wasn't until someone came along that pretty much told my story. I'm like, all right, maybe this guy knows, and those are the people that I kind of immersed myself with just to stay in the middle of it.
The weight loss.
Yeah.
Is that just because you wouldn't eat? I mean, is that?
Yeah. I think for the most part, it curbs your appetite, but I think there's also some things in there that deteriorate muscle growth and stuff too. I would assume. Yeah.
When you were doing that, were you still lifting weights? Still being active? Nah, you were just out. Yeah. You were doing it.
Just full blown. Yeah.
Who was the catalyst for you, man, that led you to your recovery?
A couple of guys that I met in AA that had been in the middle of the solution for years, and they were guys my age. They just pretty much took me under their wing, introduced me to their contacts and just, built a support group for myself.
You were trying, like you were actively trying and going to try to get help. It was just, you needed a little bit more support.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. Yep. Not awesome that you're in the situation, but awesome that you were trying.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are forced into it. A lot of people that are forced into it, that's a longer road to recovery, isn't it?
For sure. Yeah. There's, they have things like the Marchman Act, which is a involuntary commitment to treatment. If someone displays signs or symptoms that they're a danger to themselves or others, there's laws to get someone help. But
how's that different from the Baker Act?
Baker Act is just more of for...
Rinse takes your laundry and hand delivers it to your door, expertly cleaned and folded. So you could take the time once spent folding and sorting and waiting to finally pursue a whole new version of you. Like Tea Time You. Or this Tea Time You. Or even this Tea Time You.
Said you hear about Dave?
Or even Tea Time You.
So update on Dave.
It's up to you. We'll take the laundry. Rinse. It's time to be great.
Like mental health, Baker Act, if someone is, say suicidal, right? They're maybe not necessarily struggling with substances. It's just a psychiatric hold for 72 hours, get them evaluated, maybe placed into a facility. Where the Marchman Act, it's a similar process, but it's more geared towards getting them to treatment for an extended period of time. So it saves lives, it's there for a reason, but it's definitely, it's not the prettiest process, for having it all unfold how it does, but it does work,
Yeah. What
And
is
Florida's one of the only states that has that law too.
Well,
there's another one in Kentucky called
Mhm.
Casey's Law. It's very similar. But yeah.
It's funny. I was having a conversation. I can't remember what show it was. It was a journalist and was on Fox for many years, and he's got his own thing going on now. If the Baker Act and the Marchman Act will work in Florida, why can't it work in Massachusetts? Why can't it work in California? Why can't it work in Idaho? You see my point? So if you see something that's working, why?
I feel all states should adopt that because
why? I don't
there's a
get
need.
it.
In the work that I do for interventions, there's so many times where I've been in a state where there isn't like a involuntary order. They'll call it something else. I think Massachusetts like a 5150, but
That's California too, I think.
Yeah, it's all like psychiatric stuff. There's nothing geared towards treatment and getting them, committed to a facility for an extended period of time. So the Marchman Act is actually up to 90 days too. So that, promotes healing at the end of it, with the longer length of stay, obviously will correlate to more sobriety for most people. But
yeah, it's a question that I really, I wish we could find the answer to. And again, I'll go back to school shootings. There's a solution. Why aren't they doing it? My buddy Patrick Dearborn always says they. Whoever they are, they want us fighting. And it's wild to me. Because the human life is so valuable. No matter what, there's plenty of tragedy that goes on anyway, right? There's car accidents, there's work accidents, right? There's cancer, there's heart attacks. Like, why do we need so many other things going on if they could be fixed?
Yeah, I agree.
Is it money? I don't know.
I don't know, to be honest with you. I just know that, I feel like every state has the ability to do it. It's just something. What is it? What's holding them back?
Every state in the union has the resources to guard our schools too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look, I hate to. I mean, like, listen, we're talking about it, right? Because it kind of ties in. We're talking about fentanyl. We're talking about getting that out of our country and saving lives. We're talking about kids.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it's fair that in 3 years, when you drop your daughter off at school, that you got to worry if she's going to come home every day?
Yeah, no, I don't. That's just
because
insane.
I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be real with everybody watching and listening right now. My biggest fear every single day is when my kids go to freaking school and they're at a prep school. Okay. And they have armed guards on there and they have bulletproof windows. It's still every time my kids leave the house, I go out in the car and I give them a kiss, no matter what's going on. Sometimes I love bomb the shit. I'm like, let me get daddy another kiss. I love you guys so much. Have a safe day. Have a great day. Honestly, it scares me when my kids and my wife leave the house every morning.
Mm-hmm.
It's not fair.
No, yeah. It's not something you should have to think about.
But America is one of the very few countries. I want to say the only country, but the trolls and the fact checkers might hit me on this one. But I'm going to say the only country where parents have to worry about their children every single day going to school. It's like, what are we doing?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what are we doing? Anyway, we're getting sidebarred, but it's important because again, I truly feel it all ties in. Like there's ways to remove drugs, fentanyl from the streets. And again, I think we're doing a better job at it now. I think there's a lot of focus on it, but all to say, I want to change lives.
Right.
I want to help people's life get better. So just the opportunity to do that with you, for someone I've known for so long and watched grow into everything that you're doing and watch you grow in your recovery and you getting out there, in front of cameras and press and telling your story, man, it just means so much.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. And likewise for you, dude, starting in your car and look at you now. Top ranked podcast in the entire United States and global, right?
I mean, I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, maybe it's hard because the rankings never have like global rankings, right? You have on Spotify, you have, United States and you can filter it down, right? And then you go to Apple and you can filter it down to your category and then overall, right? And here's the thing, there's about 6 million in the United States of America. There's a ton. And I'll get pissed when I drop to like 60 overall, right? But the thing that's interesting to me is that there's some softwares like Mopod, you can go and you can, click on this link and it's always changing. It's always updating. So I can put my show in there and see where I'm ranked. Sometimes I'm top 20 in Turkey.
That's awesome.
You don't know that, right? But it's like, it's one of those things that as long as we put good conversations out and we're having good conversations and we do things differently than everybody else, I think we'll always have a place there. And I think we're very close to a massive explosion. Like it just this energy I feel. I told the team that I was like, hey, I tell, my friends that, produce my show, Grit Media, I go, hey, put your seatbelt on, guys. They're probably like, dude, we know. Yeah. We know. You're going to say it again. I'm like, but no, like, and it's funny because I'm pretty much right every time because there's a that hockey stick, right? It's like we're getting real steep and there's constant movement. And so with that said, when that happens, that's what I'm most proud of. So I'm most proud of, like, you talk about the rankings. We can talk about all that. I love the rankings. I do. Would it be great if I, got to number one? Absolutely. Because it means something different to me. See, that's what most people don't understand. I put that stuff out there. I post about it. I put my stories because I want to drive people to the show because I know at one point they're going to need to hear the guest. It's not about me. It's about the guest. If we can bring that value and help them change their lives, that's what I care about. The ego and the pride, dude, throw that out the window. I don't care. Yeah. I don't care.
I think I'm all about like solution today and getting back to like the discipline part, man, like that's just like, I feel like every man aspires to have like that discipline where it's untouched, like you're just focused, deadlocked, because that's when I feel like we're at our best. But yeah, I completely blacked out what I was just about to say.
What happened? Did he pass out on us, guy?
Yeah,
I think he passed out on us.
I just blacked
it's okay.
out.
It's fine. We can talk about, so we'd go, but even with discipline, right? Let's just go out there because this is good. Yeah. Like this is what I like when we have real moments like that on the show.
Completely just blacked out though. I don't know.
But that's normal. People can relate to that.
Yeah.
People are like, I know exactly what happened because I do that all the time.
Yeah.
Right. But here's the thing with it. It is the discipline part, right? It pays to be disciplined because through discipline, you gain confidence. Through confidence, you gain momentum. Through momentum, you gain more activity. And through activity, you gain results. But at the same time, I think it's also super important for everybody watching and listening is like, there's a such thing as being overly rigid and disciplined. You have to enjoy your life a little bit, man.
Like David Goggins type?
Dude, but it works for him, man.
It does.
Like that's his playground. I mean, like I was messing with Ryan before. I'm like, don't get me eating this donut on camera. No, hell with that. And I was joking. I went like this to it. I was like, that's balance.
Yeah, of course.
Like I'm going to have that.
Of course.
But then I know the rest of the day, I need to load up on solely proteins and whole foods. Like I can't play. Like I can't play later. I probably can't play tomorrow. But today, I got me a nice Krispy Kreme donut, man. Yeah. Like that was good. It's just the funny thing about discipline, right? Yeah. This is the thing. There can't be too much of everything. There needs to be, a healthy balance to what we're doing. And back to White Sands. That's what I see here. See, I don't believe balance exists in a work-life balance scenario.
I've always tried to attain it, and it always seems like I'm searching for it.
Do you know why?
It's just things are always ever changing. I feel like nothing stays consistent.
You're in great shape, so you lift weights, right? You have your daughter. You have a job. You have to sleep. What else? You have to eat. You have to manage your friendships. A potential romantic relationship. That's 7 things. Can you give 8 hours a day to each one of them? Balance doesn't exist. You can't do it, right? What we need to really shoot for is presence.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. And so like when you're with your daughter on the 9 holes, right? The par 3 course that she took her to 3 weeks ago. It's not about staying there for the 18 holes. She's 2. She can't do it.
Right.
It's hot. Like come get your girl, bro. Right. But you had those moments with her and you were present with her. That's what wins. So our children and our spouses and our friends, they just want us to be locked in on them, even if it's for an hour.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And it sucks because these stupid devices, like I'm sitting here with you and at one point me and you're sitting down ready to record the show. I'm like, but we have to do that. I mean, it's, in the morning, like I'm not going to let a forest fire burn if I can put it out. And same thing with you, right? We have people that are dependent on us, but balance is something that I don't believe is achievable if you're looking at it to equate it to something like evenly balanced things now or time. I'm gonna spend 4 hours here, 4 hours here, 6. I mean, you can't do that. But here, this is a very balanced and neutral place, meaning you have water features, you have all these different, a gym, so people can live a life and try to balance as much as humanly possible between mental, and physical health and spiritual health.
Yeah. It's the approach here Mike was talking about outside. It's just about like the whole person, like the whole person centered approach, right? With just the holistic, healing, the mental approach, the physical. I mean, it all correlates to overall wellness for anybody, first of all, especially for people in recovery. So yeah, I think it's a great approach. I think it's the only approach that ever worked for me, to be honest with you. I've tried a bunch of different modalities of therapies over the years, and, just the holistic approach is typically the most universal for most people.
You brought up a good point, because addiction, and whether it's binge eating, whether it's drugs or even, certain websites for people, there's something going on with the person.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a root cause. The other stuff's a symptom.
100%.
So you have to attack the root, right? And that's a hard thing to do.
Yeah. So that's kind of like what all of the clinical teams, role here is, to kind of like push these individuals here to discover their why. Why did they start drinking at 15 years old? Or why did, they become addicted at 40 years old later in life? There's always an event, at least in my experience, that is traumatic in the sense that either shuts someone down, or maybe they learn a bad coping mechanism from that experience. And it just, and then they find alcohol one day, or they find whatever it is, I feel like each person's journey is different in a sense, but yeah, I feel like
when it comes to what your family eats and drinks, your choices matter. You're the expert, because you know what fits your life. And getting it right starts with good information. That's why America's beverage companies are sharing more information about our ingredients at goodtoknowfacts.org. No spin, no judgments, just the facts straight from the experts for more than 140 beverage ingredients. Visit goodtoknowfacts.org.
There's always an underlying issue of why people become addicted in the first place. For me, it was, underlying trauma as a child, or, how I chose to suppress things that were negative in my life, and I just kind of pushed them to the side. Later in life, I realized that, okay, I'm a runner, and bad things come up. I'll just disappear. I don't address it, and that was like another awakening in a sense of, I didn't discover that till a couple of years into my sobriety. It was like, okay, like this is an issue. I need to look at this, and put some effort into, how can I, not be that way? And, now like the alternative to that is, if there's an issue in a relationship or, whatever, I have to address it immediately. And it's like that internal voice in your head that tells you, get up and make your bed, or get up and, do this. And then we choose to go against it. That's when things get hairy for me, and I feel like, yeah.
Great perspective, because outside looking in, I would say your impending event was your injury. Now, potentially, your injury was the impending event that played on your childhood trauma that caused this. So you see this equation here? It's like, you have to know these things, right? Why did I binge eat? It's not because I wanted to look like shit. It's not because I wanted to feel terrible in the morning and my body ache from inflammation. It wasn't. It's because I didn't feel like I was enough.
Exactly. Yeah. It could be simple as just grief and loss too, or self-esteem issues, like it was for me at times. Like I was always thin growing up. I always wanted to be, a little bit bigger, a little more filled out. So it was like inferiority complex growing up a little bit with that. There was a bunch of different things going on, and it just comes down to talking about it to discover it, and once you discover it, then you can start to recover.
Amazing. I can't, conclude the interview without touching on the clinical team, dude.
Sure.
Like, as you've mentioned clinical once, that was the original thing I wanted to go back to.
Mm-hmm.
And then I blacked out. I just didn't admit it. I just kept fucking rolling. Like, baby,
Yeah.
you keep going, baby.
Yeah.
Is the clinical team is second to none.
Mm-hmm.
And I want you to edify them a little bit.
Sure.
Talk about the experiences. You know, met Lindsay here.
Mm-hmm.
She's diving in hard on the EMR system. She's like locked in at 8:30 in the morning and intense and super smart.
Very, very
I like
smart.
her even though she's from Vanderbilt. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, very smart. So what I will tell you is that most of the therapists here have been here for an extended tenure, which says a lot. I feel like, clinicians are hard to come by, good ones that, give it their all. And, Lindsay's had, it all starts with Lindsay. Lindsay Henry's the VP of Clinical Services at White Sands, and she's phenomenal at what she does, has a grasp on everything that happens here. And all of her therapists are, tenured by at least 5, 6, 7, some are here 11 years. And I just feel like that speaks volumes of the programs, at least from my past experience working for other providers. There's a revolving door of therapists, and they never really seem to find the fit long-term that makes the program up of what it is. And I just feel like once you have someone here that knows the program, knows how things work, things just flow way better and clients get better experiences at that point.
I think that's your guys' secret sauce.
Yeah.
Yes, the facility's great. All the different things that you can do here while you're a guest here. But the clinical aspect and the longevity of everybody here, that's what sets this place apart.
Yes.
Right. We're not having a ton of turnover here.
No.
I say we like I work here. We are part of it, man.
Yep.
I am, right? But
when did making plans get this complicated? It's time to streamline with WhatsApp, the secure messaging app that brings the whole group together. Use polls to settle dinner plans. Send event invites and pin messages so no one forgets Mom's 60th. And never miss a meme or milestone. All protected with end-to-end encryption. It's time for WhatsApp. Message privately with everyone. Learn more at whatsapp.com.
it's a thing where when people are at a place for a certain period of time, every single clinician, every therapist, every part of support staff knows the pros and cons of everything that happens here. And from that point, you're a solution-based person. They can find solutions, implement systems and programs to make sure, right, that doesn't happen. I just want everybody watching and listening to understand what that really means. That's big.
It is big. And, I feel like, especially with the ratio to patients to clinicians, they keep it under a certain amount. So it feels like that individuality in care, which is so important for a patient to have adequate time with their therapist. I mean, like, that's your time to unload. In the beginning for me, it was really about unloading in there until I felt comfortable of unloading in a group setting. But that's where it starts, man. That's where the healing journey begins for sure.
I love it, man. I love it, dude. This has been fun, dude.
Thanks, man.
It's been a good time.
Yeah.
One more question for you. This is the Determined Society, right? So I like to ask this question. What is true determination? How do you define true determination?
I think it starts with discipline. Going back to discipline, determination. I feel like action. Action is determination. I can dream all I want in my head, but if I'm not applying action to that word, it means nothing. And that's the part when you need to do it, though. That's when you need to do it, because that's when the change is made, man. That's like going back to like the little inner thoughts in my head, just telling me to do certain tasks throughout the day. I can ignore them if I want, but that's not going to make me better. It's not going to make me feel good. I feel like determination is acting now.
Good. I love it. It's not as gritty and sexy as people think, right? Yeah. It's showing up because you said you would. Yeah,
of course.
And that's the one thing that we love to talk about on the show. And I love when my guests bring that out, because the listeners, they pay attention, right? The viewers, they pay attention, and everybody's looking for that silver bullet. What is going to make me better? What is going to make me more successful? And it's really about the one thing that's holding you hostage. You take care of that thing, then you've got it. Like you're well on your way to becoming much, much better, because now you're not bogged down by this massive boulder,
right?
Sitting on your chest or your shoulders. I just think it's important to always ask that question and tie in, like, what if you don't want to, right? I mean, I don't want to run tonight.
Yeah.
I'm going to run tonight. Like I must, because my asshole team told me that I had to do a Spartan race with them. And I hate them every day, but I love them when I'm done with the workout. Right. I love them. Love them. But, dude, thank you so much
of course,
for coming on. This was truly an honor. I love the fact that I was able to be infused into your world for, a couple hours today. And for the audience listening, if there's anything in your life that you need to overcome, obviously around, you saw the ad in the show, but really, pick up the phone and call. It's a great place. And we just want you guys to feel good. We want you guys to heal when you need to, so you can be with your families and truly enjoy your life. And this is the one last thing I have to say to you guys. Until next time, stay determined.
Next up is a little song from CarMax about selling a car your way.
You want to sell those wheels, you want to get a CarMax instant offer.
So fast.
Want to take a sec to think about it.
Or like a month.
Want to keep tabs on that instant offer.
With Offer Watch.
Want to have CarMax pick it up from your driveway.
So, want to drive? CarMax. Pickup not available everywhere. Restrictions and fee may apply.